In this Planet Zoo video, we are back building in Farmville Petting Zoo. And we are going to be building a realistic walkthrough mixed species habitat for a couple of the animals from the Barnyard Pack. And it all started here on the far end of our petting zoo. You can see it's all like coming together quite nicely here and actually increasing in size. I'm not planning on doing too much habitats, but for this one it's just going to be right here and it's going to be quite large. First thing we always start off with, well, personally I start off with when building any habitat in Planet Zoo, is the guest viewing area. So we need guest barriers. It's going to keep our animals in and it's going to keep our guests out. We're going to create that viewing area today with these two pieces. Now this is one of the wood poles out of the Barnyard Animal Pack, and we're going to go with the old faithful mesh, and we're going to throw some beams in there as well. You can see me just playing about with a couple of ideas here, and the thought process of this was try to get kind of like a rustic but not too run down viewing area. So I needed to try to transfer that into the actual barriers of the habitat. We want to keep it rustic. We want to keep it looking like it is an actual farm. It is a petting zoo based in Britain. So that's the kind of look we wanted to go through. And I came across this Indonesian stained wood piece. Kind of looks a little bit tarnished, a little bit run down, but not too much. And it fits in that metal gap. So those little metal gaps on that original pole from the Barnyard Pack, it just fits in there like like it was just meant to be. And I thought that is absolutely perfect. It kind of looks like the metal pieces hold together the mesh fencing itself. So then it was just a matter of creating two different fences so I can easily duplicate it over. And you can see me using this floor tile here, narrowing it down to 2 meters, just so I can get a little bit of a gap between our actual like decking area and where our guests can go and enter, because it is going to be a habitat what you can enter, a walkthrough habitat, so the guests can go in, and of course now we've got the new update, they can actually pet the animals who are in here. Once the fencing was in place, I did very basic. I just kind of like rotated it, and I didn't really have much thought process when placing them down. But once they was in place, and I will zoom out soon so you can have a look how I did put the fencing in, it was time to move on to the main barn. Now this is going to be the main hard shelter for the animals. Like I said, it's going to be a multi-species habitat. I want 2 different species. I was thinking maybe horses and donkeys. That's what I was thinking. That's the kind of vibe this habitat is going with. I didn't build it for any specific animal. All I knew is I wanted it to be an animal out of the Barnyard Pack. And of course we're going to create a barn. Now we've already created a barn, quite a red barn, and that holds 2 different habitats, one on the left, one on the right, as you can see now. And I'm just taking pieces off there because I thought I've already built a barn. Why do I have to create pieces all over again when I've got pieces I can take off that barn, put it onto this barn, even if it is different colours? I can just recolour stuff, like getting this door in. I thought, why create a door when I've already created a door back there, just copy and paste, isn't it, basically? All I have to do is change colours really and adjust it so it fits in and stuff like that. And boom, we've got a door, and our barn is coming together really quick because we have the ability to copy stuff over. And it's just so easy to do it that way, and I do it with quite a lot of things. We're just going to recolour it now to the same colour as the rest of the barn, and it's the conservation wood colour, how conservation pieces come in. That's always try to stick with the same colour scheme when creating a zoo. It doesn't matter what zoo you're doing, but honestly try to stick within the same colour scheme and everything just fits in nicely. That's a big lesson I learned when I did New Tropic Zoo. Obviously this is very different, but again we're going to keep it the way I like to do things. Right, just talking about this window now. Now, I had to delete the actual on-the-grid wall pieces here and kind of create my own wall, and did that with the 2 meter version of the same stained wood piece, what I've been building with, but off the grid version. And we're going to create a custom window. I love doing this in every single hard shelter I make. It just makes it look so much better, these custom windows. So we're going to get them in. Again, we're going to use the Indonesian stained wood piece. We're going to recolour it to white so it looks like it's been painted over, giving it that new fresh wood look. Bit of gloss on the wood, if you know what I mean. And we're just going to line that that window in, giving it a window frame. We've got 2 different pieces of glass in there as well, just trying to keep it realistic. And I even tried playing about with the options of having the window open, but nothing was just seeming to work for me. But do try everything before you settle on a decision in Planet Zoo. I will recommend all doing that every time you build something. But yeah, I thought, yeah, let's have the window open and trying to look how the wood frame would look. And honestly, it just looked better closed. So all I had to do then is, like I always say, if you've got one side, you've got the other. I just duplicated it over. And then the good thing is I can duplicate them both over and put it on the opposite side of the whole building as well. Just adjusting some little things here, making sure everything is all right and in place, and just zooming out and having a look, seeing if it fits in and seeing where we're going next with it. We're going to copy the doors over again. Work smart, not hard. That's what I always said, not just in, you know, Planet Zoo terms, but in real life as well. If there's a smarter way to do something, what prevents you doing it in a harder way, then do that. To be honest, with this petting zoo, it's not meant to be a large zoo. It is, you know, it's a British themed petting zoo based in the country lands of, I don't know, some kind of county, some posher county in Greater Britain. So it's not meant to be a massive zoo, and I want to really stick to that, because I got a little bit carried away when I was building New Tropic Zoo. That was only supposed to be a small zoo, and it ended up quite a large zoo, like medium to large zoo. So I can't see many more builds being in this zoo. I have got some things planned and in the works for this zoo. I mean, I want to do kind of like a butterfly walkthrough exhibit. That's what I really want to do. I don't know how I'm going to pull that off as well. And I do kind of like want to have a habitat where it's kind of like an aviary style, maybe an aviary style for the peafowls or something like that. Let me know in the comment section below what other animals you would suggest me putting in this petting zoo, or what other animals you would like me to see me build for, basically, because that's what I do it for. I do it for you. See me just adjusting some things now, and it's really annoying when you copy a whole block. It just doesn't fit in when you go to put it on the other side, so I had to do the pieces individually, but I got it done. And this is how it came out looking. You see, this is how I put the fences round. The barn is done. I just put some little decorations on the roof and left it. And then we've got this area, and I really struggled to do this area, and I wasn't happy with it. So what we're going to do is going to delete these here now. I kind of started creating like a custom path again. I just really wasn't happy with it. I don't know. And then you can see I've built a little shelter in the background. Really not happy with that either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these fences here. We're going to totally get rid of them. And we're going to create kind of like, not a barn. Well, is it a barn? It is like a barn, like a little hard shelter for the animals to come up to. But it gives the opportunity for a guest to have easy outside access to pet them. So it's kind of going to look like the inside. It's going to be like a small barn basically, but like the horses and the donkeys can pop their heads out of. I'm sure you've seen that in petting zoos and in zoos in real life before, and as it comes along you will see the kind of idea I'm trying to go with. Well, hopefully anyway. So let's get cracking and let's get building. First thing I need to do is get any on the grid item, and we're going to measure where we want our barriers for the animals' heads to poke over, and we're going to do that with the archer. It's what I always use. It's the same size as a guest in your zoo, so it just works out very nicely when you're trying to size things more realistic and get that sizing correct and get that to scale ratios correct. We're going to use the Indonesian wood pieces again. I love these, especially when you're building stuff like this, and we're going to recolor some of them to black to make them look like metal, like you can see me doing here. And this is going to be the front facing area. Forget about the wood piece in the background. That is just so I can build something on the grid and I can make sure everything's lined up 4x4 and get the pieces in we need. And then once everything's in, we can delete them. We can delete the wood pieces, and you will see me do that. And I suggest building this way. A lot of people use the mud column to do it. I like to use the actual wall pieces because you can see how big your custom walls are going to be when you're building them, because you've got an actual 4x4 piece. It gives you like a grid reference, doesn't it? This is going to be the handle that you can see me putting in here. Now, I always try to work out pieces. How can I use pieces differently? So this is the ceiling based for the fan, I think, and then the ceiling fan wiring, what comes down from the ceiling off from a fan, and we're going to use it as a handle. And that's the key to being a better builder in Planet Zoo, basically. Think about how you can use pieces for other reasons. So you need to be very versatile of how you use pieces. like for this example, using these ceiling pieces of a fan as a handle, what's going to open that barn door. And we're going to start creating the bars now, the metal bars, what you will see in the inside of a barn. And we're going to do that with these lovely, again, Indonesian stone pieces. I just love these. The conservation wood pieces and the Indonesian wood pieces are the best pieces in the game when it comes to wood. And you can see me doing here, I'm recoloring them to black, making them look like metal. So we've not just got wood pieces, we've got metal pieces, what look like metal pieces. Anyway, there just seems to be a very lack of metal pieces in this game. I don't know what it is. We have the rods, but they're quite thick. They're not as thin as this, are they? And when you're trying to create something like this, you need to be able to scale it to size. And we're going to separate it. So this is going to be a modular piece. It's going to be very easy to copy over because we've got that on the grid wall piece in the background there, which I told you to ignore. And we're going to separate. It's going to look like two doors. So we're going to have a door what swings open, which the animals can come to, pop their heads over, have a little stroke, maybe get a little feed off our guest. Unfortunately, that's not even the game. Frontier, if you're listening to this, please include guest feeding it into the game. And then the right hand side is just going to be a barrier, what's going to kind of like block off the animal, and it's going to be what our zookeepers can use to get in and out of that specific barn. We're going to copy it about 4 times. It's going to be quite easy to copy. You will see me do it in a minute, but just creating that kind of like section now, making sure everything is to scale. You can see a little bit of black piece poking out. Sort it. If you're not happy with something, change it. Let's group everything together now, and you will see me quite easily copy stuff over after I've built the catch. And I'm going through different objects trying to build a handle here, and I love this is one of the pieces, metal hatch maybe, I can't remember what it's called, but it's out the conservation pack if you are wondering. It makes brilliant handles. I use it for handles on windows, handles for doors. It's amazing. It's so versatile, that piece, and you can also hang stuff off it as well. Right, let's group everything together like this, and as you can see, we're going to just duplicate everything over very easily and very nicely. But before we do that, I thought if we are going to copy everything over, it just makes sense to me to include a roof. And we're going to include some support beams as well for the roof overhang. And we're using the same roof, that's why you can see me grabbing it here. All we have to do is get the right size, and it was kind of annoying. And then I wanted this beam as well, so let's get that beam in there. And then just lining everything up here. On the right hand side, I wanted it so it copies over nicely. I wanted a bit of a gap. We want to give the impression that guests can actually get in here. We're going to add a roof trim just like that to extend the roof a little bit more, to make sure the support beams look like they're actually supporting the roof, kind of like balancing off the main structure here. We're going to add another beam as well. Remember, it's all in the detailing. And that's it. That's our module piece. So we'll just duplicate it over. Look how easy it is. Group everything. Make sure you group everything. Duplicate it over. And there you go. How easy is that? We're going to delete them, and boom, we've got a barn style building. So the only thing left to do now is to bulk out the other area. So we're going to copy it over the roof, and we're just going to start bulking out the back and the sides of it. And we're going to do that again with the stained wood pieces, the same wood pieces what we use for the barn in the background. We're going to nick them, we're going to line it up. I started lining it up with the 4 meters, and it just wasn't working. And even though it's on the grid, and it would have been so much easier for me to build it in this way, the roof didn't look good, it wasn't overlapping well, the actual barriers were sticking into the side of the wood pieces, and it just wasn't working. So I thought, right, first thing I need to do is have an overhang. So let's overhang the roof, narrow the grid down to 1 meter in the bottom right hand corner if you don't know how to do this. So we've got a nice little roof overhang, and we're going to get the 2 meter piece what is off the grid. Yes, it is more time consuming, but it will look better. We're going to line everything up, and we're going to make our own walls. Just like that. And then all we have to do is copy that over to the other side. We're going to put the support beams as well on the other side. And that is basically a very simple but effective and nice looking kind of like guest interaction barn, I'm going to call it. Yeah, we're just going to get the beams over, and of course we're going to get some hay in there as well to give the opportunity for animals to sleep in there. And then I decided to put the actual habitat gate where our zookeepers and vets can go in, just to the left of the structure what we just created. and we're just going to extend these mesh pieces and wooden pieces just to make sure it looks like it actually fits in. It's one of the lower gates, as you can see. It's a bit of a pain in the ass that you have to have a guest gate and a habitat gate in the same habitat, which is quite annoying, but it is what it is. You can see the guest gate is on the right, and I've started adding some foliage as well, and some little bit of props on the right hand side. You see hay bales and stuff like that. Once the barn building was complete, it was time to just wrap around the fences at the back and add some foliage, and with a click of the fingers, because I can use my amazing editing skills to do so, let's add that. You can see a hell of a lot of foliage has gone into this, and I always say in Planet Zoo, foliage is king. That's why I do it. The grass just looks so much better when the foliage is all like that. If you want to know what this is just buffalo grass. I've sank it down into the ground a little bit, added a little bit more colours, a little bit of shrubs and stuff like that, and boom, it ends up coming out looking like that. I didn't want to go really over the top, but I didn't want it to look plain and simple also, and I think I've kind of pulled that off. And now the animals that we decided to put in here are the American Standard Donkey and the Alpaca, and they are both species are very happy in here, really. See the donkeys just strutting through here, ready to get a pet off our guest. And of course, we've got one of my favourite animals, the funny face. Well, I think the faces are funny, I don't know why I do, but the alpaca. I just wanted to show the just about right the height of the barriers what I created in the barn style building, and it gives the perfect opportunity to guests to pet them. And that is this habitat complete. My name's Adam. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you did like the video, and I'll catch you in the next Planet Zoo video.